channel. If you're new here, my name is Nakya. I am a data analyst working in Atlanta. And today what I'm going to be doing is I want to walk you guys through how I go through scoping a project, because I have something that needs a kind of quick turnaround time for some of the work that I'm doing. We just want to get some preliminary data to see if this is something that the team that put in this request wants to continue with. So what I need to do is I need to gather some data about customers that have two different products. And some of this may sound repetitive because I did discuss this in my work blog. I'm not sure if it's included, but if it is, this is the same thing. So what we're doing is we're looking at customers that have purchased two different products. So product A, product B, and in that last video, I believe I referred to it as like product A being an iPad, product B being the Apple Pencil. So we have customers that have only purchased an iPad and customers that have only purchased an Apple Pencil. So the team that put in the request wants to market the iPad to customers that have the Apple Pencil. That's what they want to do, but they are wanting to know the likelihood of those customers that have the Apple Pencil purchasing an iPad from us. I need to gather data to see customers that only purchased an iPad and also those customers that have only purchased the Apple Pencil. And when I say iPad and Apple Pencil, you guys, this is just an example. I can't say the real products, so I'm just giving an example. So I have to gather data on the amount of customers that have product B, which is the Apple Pencil, and then I'm also going to gather the data on the amount of customers that have product A, which is the iPad. Now, I did some initial scoping, but I need to go back and pull the numbers again and readjust my code some. So I'm going to talk you guys through how I do that, how I, look for data, because data is one of those things that is like you spend a lot of time trying to find the data. But luckily, for product B, I did some code and analysis work on that last year. So what I'm going to do is kind of repurpose some of that code, see what portions of it I can use. I know that the tables that were in there should still be good to go and still be used. I am going to look out there and see if any other tables may be best fit, because you guys, like, there are so many tables out in these databases, and it's kind of like you just have to hunt and find what you need. Or if you know a coworker that has worked in that space, you can reach out to them and ask them, hey, do you have any experience working with this data? Is there a table that houses this data if you're not able to find anything? We also have kind of like a data dictionary, I would call it, that lists kind of out the table names, and it has the columns, the column name, like the field names that are in each of these tables. The thing with that, you still have to go and go to the tables and look at them and see if it's going to get you what you need, because sometimes you're not sure. You're like, I don't know if this is doing what I want it to do. Some of these field names are obscure and you're just like, I don't really know. So looking for data is always a hassle. I'm going to start with the data or the code that I already developed last year for product B, and I'm going to have to tweak that and then gather the data and find the tables for product A, the iPad, so I can put the two together. And eventually what this may turn into is looking at the propensity, or like this is kind of like a statistical model where we're looking at what is the likelihood of someone who only purchased an Apple Pencil from us buying an iPad, and vice versa. I would say, what is the likelihood of someone that only purchased an iPad buying an Apple Pencil? Because in my mind, well, from the initial data that I pulled, there are more customers that purchased only the iPad than the Apple Pencil. Now, you may be wondering, why would you only buy an Apple Pencil? I don't know, you guys. Maybe they had an iPad already. We don't know, but just looking at our records, looking at product B, some people only purchase product B, but product B and product A are related. Like they can go kind of like Apple, the iPad and the Apple Pencil go together. They're related. So you would think that if you purchase an iPad, those customers would be more likely to buy an Apple Pencil. But you have some people that only bought an Apple Pencil from us for whatever reason it may be. But this team wants to target marketing to those customers that only purchase product B. We're going to do our part give the initial scoping data out. Like it's pretty much just giving numbers, like how many customers have product A, how many customers have product B, when did they purchase product A or B. But I just wanted to kind of talk you guys through my process of doing this scoping and giving some initial preliminary results. So I'm going to get started on that. And again, I'll talk you guys through it. So the first thing that I need to do is actually set up my connections again. So I just got a new laptop. I started working on migrating my data from my old laptop to my new laptop yesterday, I want to say at 11 a.m. And it did not finish until 10 p.m. last night. I didn't do anything. So I need to get my I need to get Teradata. I need to get SQL Server. I need to get what is it called? Toad. I need to get all of my database connections set up again and log into all the systems. So I need to do that, but I'll be back and I'll check in with you. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the code that I was working with last year for product B. And I'm going to start by pulling some results from the table. So give me a second to pull that up. So I have the code. I'm going to do a select statement from this table. So I'm going to, what I like to do is, because I haven't worked in this table since last year, so I'm going to do a select top 100 from this table, just to pull back the top 100 results, and then so I can see what the table looks like and see like the different fields that it has, which is like pretty much the column names and what data is in there. There's a lot of columns in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the data that's in the database, these 100, this 100 results that it brought back for me. I'm going to paste it in Excel. So what I like to do here is this will help me kind of like see all of the column names, because in the database you have to keep scrolling if there's a lot of different columns, field names. I'll use these interchangeably, same thing. But if there are a lot of columns where you have to keep scrolling, best practice for me at least is to copy the data from the database, paste it into Excel, paste it in like column E or F, so you have columns like A through E open, so you can do this next step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of the field names, which is the column header. I'm going to copy that data and I'm going to paste it and transpose it into column A. So everything's listed in these columns going across. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to transpose it so that all of the column names are listed going down in different rows. Instead of going across, it'll go down in the different rows. So I can see all of the columns that I have to work with. A more readable format for me, at least, instead of scrolling through the database and going back and forth. There's a couple different things that I'll need. I'll need the customer identifying information here. There's an identifier for the product type. So like product A, product B, this does have an identifier for product B in this table that I'm going to use. So I'm going to first take a couple of these column names and I'm going to adjust my little query and I'm going to select these column names from the table. Another thing I like to do when you're writing your code, at least for SQL, you have to put a comma to separate the field names. And what I like to do is I like to use there's a function in Excel, concatenate function. So I'm going to use that, and I use that to add the commas in front of the column names. So I'm going to do that. So what I want to do is I want to get a count. First, I'm going to do a count of distinct customer IDs. So because I want to know how many unique customers we have with product B. So I'm going to just do a count and distinct cust ID from this table, and where the product is in product B. Oh, hold on. And I also need to look at, I need to add in another filter. The filter that I need is not in this table, so I actually need to join to another table. So let me find that table. We have a, so I can join the two tables together based on, we have a customer table that has like customer information. So I'm going to join the two tables together because there's a identifier that should be in the customer table that's not in this product table. So I'm going to join the two together because I need to filter down customers. So give me a second. So I had two calls back to back and they ended early. So I'm just going to continue with what I was working on and talk you guys through it as I work on it. What I've done is I think the last thing I talked to you guys about was I put some of the data in Excel just to figure out the columns that I would need from one specific table. But while I was on the call, I remembered that I need to actually pull in some data and create a hierarchy with employee information, so I can gather, like, if these customers are contacting and talking to employees for support purposes, we want to, or the request, they want to know, like, do customers with product A or product B, are they contacting us for support for like issues and troubleshooting, that type of thing. So I need to pull that in together with employee information. So what I'm going to do is create an employee hierarchy table. Now we have an employee table, but I don't need all of the data from it. So I'm going to create my own kind of hierarchy and call out where these employees are. For example, like if the customer contacted us through like a chat, I would categorize, like group them under a chat, for example, or chat group, for example. So what I'm going to do is create an employee hierarchy table and kind of group the employees depending on where, like, what department they're in, for example. So I'm going to get started on that. And I have some code that I've used before, so I'm just going to make some tweaks to that as I go. So this is why it's important to save your code, because you can save some time by just modifying code that you've used, like if it's applicable, of course, but modifying code that you've used previously and applying it to other projects. I need to create some buckets with departments, so I'm going to do that. I need to look at the table first to see what column or what field has it, because there's different fields that call out department. Oh no, hold on. I did select all. I need to select stop. So I'm just taking the data that I just did a select the top 100 for, and doing the same thing I mentioned to you before, where I'm just going to copy the field names and transpose it in Excel so I can see all of the names of the fields in an easier format, and that way I can just scroll down instead of having to just keep scrolling across to find the field that I need. Because look, this one has 172 field names. So yeah, that would be a lot of scrolling that you'd have to do in the table, which I'm not going to do. So it's just easier for me to see it this way. So for the code that I just modified, I just had to modify one column and take one piece out. I think this looks good for the hierarchy, and it has like the dates, employee information, and department information. That's pretty much all I think I need. So I'm going to go ahead and create this as a temporary table so that I can join to it with the rest of my data. And if I need to modify it, I can always come back and add a column if I see that, hey, there's actually another field that I need to join on when I create, when I join to the rest of my data. If there's a field I need to join to, I'll have it. Or I can easily do that because I've copied all of the table information, like the field names from the table. So I can just come here, grab it, copy, paste it, and drop my table, add it, and come back to it. So I'm going to create this temp table, and then I'm going to join to it with the customer product information. Actually, that's a lot. I need to take the employee information, join to customer, as well as contacts. Like if they are for, if the customers are reaching out to us again, are they contacting us? Like, are they having issues with the product A or B? And if so, are they contacting us? So I need to join to a table that has that contact information. So I'll join to both of those. The one that has the employee information, the employee table will join to the contact table, which will also join to the products. So a lot of different joins, but this temporary table has to be created, and it's taking a while. Like, this is the one thing I'm not a fan of with Toad. It just seems to take forever. And this is a new, faster laptop, so I know it's not the laptop. It is definitely Toad that is super slow, because I don't have this issue when I'm using Teradata. But while I'm waiting for that to be created, okay, so the table's been created. So now I can join to it in my other portion of code that I have. So I'm going to join the contacts to the employee table that I just created, because those two tables actually have fields that are in common. So like they have the same field name, so I can join on them. So I'm going to work on doing that. What do I need from? I'm going to take my employee table name. I'm going to select a couple of columns from that. So what do I need? I need the date and the employee identifying information. And I'm going to alias out the tables. So as B, I need the date, the ID, name, and I'm going to join that left as A. So I'm going to join on IDs and dates between these two tables. And the join is, like, if you're not aware, the join is just to bring data together from two different tables based on a field that they both have in common. So it can be one or multiple fields that they have in common. Like, to kind of narrow down the results and get a better match, it's best to join on a couple of fields, but sometimes you may only have one field that you can join on. But I'm going to try joining on on two fields and see what comes back. Oh, and I also need, I forgot, I need one other column. I need my department. Oh, okay. Y'all, I swear, I had two commas. Okay, so I'm waiting for this snippet of code to run and bring me back results. Okay, so I'm going to copy this into Excel just to see what it looks like before I join to the table that has the products. I just want to see that this looks, I need to check the data, see if there's any nulls, make sure everything comes back correctly. So I need to kind of just do an audit and make sure the data is clean. Sometimes it's not. Now, when you're doing like a left join on data, it is possible that you will have cells come back with blanks, and that's because there wasn't a match between those two data sources, which is fine. Like, if you're doing an inner join, you're looking for things that have an exact match, like a one-to-one match. But when you're doing a left join, you're saying, bring me everything back from one table and left join to the left where these things match, but there may not be a one-to-one match for everything in your left join. Same thing for your right join. So you have to determine what you're going to do with those blank fields. In some cases, I just leave it blank because I know it's not a one-to-one match, but sometimes I do have to use like a case statement to kind of like put something in those fields, especially if I'm doing some kind of calculation later on, like case when this is null, put a 1 or a 0, whatever you're doing, So this, though, these are employee. Okay, so my blanks, I don't have a department. So I'm going to look and see why I'm going to go back to the employee table and look and see why these employees don't have a department, just to get a general idea. No, this is not. Okay, so they have a department, but not in the employee table. They're in an area where they're not like they would not be in contact with customers. They're like an analyst. So So I probably need to exclude, like put in a filter to exclude these employees that don't have a department out, because looking at it, it just looks like they would not, like this would not apply to them. This specific request, it wouldn't apply to them. So I think I'm going to just add in my where statement where the department that I'm looking for, where it's blank, like where it's not blank, if that makes sense. Like pull me back departments that are not blank. As these employees don't appear to be, yeah, they're I would not need them in here in this data. So I'm going to add something in my where statement to filter them out. Okay, yeah, so I've spot checked enough. I think I'm just going to filter them out of the data because I don't need them. And let me go back to, so I have continued to work on this code. I have 3 tables that I'm joining together: the employee data, which I believe I told you guys about. So the employee data, the contact data, and then the products. So what I'm doing now is working through cleaning some of the data because I need to add some filters and I need to probably add a couple of case statements because there's null values in some of the tables and some of the fields where I just want it to appear blank for some of them, and for others I need to, since I have to do a count, I need to add in like a case statement where this equals this, give me a 1, otherwise give me a 0, so that I can count these up, like count field up. I need to count it and calculate, like aggregate it. I need to do that once it's created at the end so we can provide that data back to the client for this request. So I'm going to work on that, but I need to take a lunch break, so I'm going to do that and then we'll work through this when I get back. Okay, so I just got off a call. I've been multitasking and working on this code while I was on this last call. So I've made some changes to the code. I've added in a couple of case statements so I can aggregate the data because I need to sum and give some percentages and counts. So I've done that, but I need to go back to, remember I created this employee table. I need to go back and adjust the department information because it's too many. I need to see if there's a field where I can consolidate it down, or that's already consolidated down a little bit. But what I have is just way too many. So I need to find something or use something else. And I'm trying to see if there's something else there because I know that we've updated it. Maybe this is what I need. So if I do this, I need to drop, like if this is the right field that I need to drop my employee table, like the employee table, and redo it. Are these the data looks to be, they are very similar. Okay, so this other one, it consolidates a lot more of these. Like this one has 3 different groupings where in this new field, it's grouped as one. So I'm going to change out and use this other column and see if that helps. So I need to drop my employee table that I created and recreate it with the new field so I can change it in my join. And y'all, I do not recommend updating your laptop. Like all of my settings and preferences and things that I had in Teradata and Toad in on my other laptop, it just did not come over. I am like, how do I even do this anymore? Okay, so that is done. And let me take this new and replace it in my join. Did it not create the table? It is in B. Hold on. Let me do a select all. Oh no. Hold on. What did I do? Why does it? Huh? Okay. I don't know what's going on. What do you mean? Are you kidding me? Why does it keep saying this column does not exist? Oh my God. Oh, hold on. Okay. Lord have mercy. I'm just, y'all. Oh, forgot to update the column name in all of my rows in my code. I'm waiting for this to run. but I have the counts. I have the product to date. I have the count of customers that have product A, the count of customers that have product B. Yes. Okay. Okay. So it looks like I have the data. So what I'm going to do, I have my query. I'm going to make it a subquery so I can aggregate my data. So select from, open parentheses, close this. Okay. I'm probably gonna, well, I know I'm gonna have to do a group by since I'm trying to aggregate this, but what do I want? Hold on. I need to figure out if I need to do any more case statements within the current query because, and I probably do. So, because I can't, yeah, I need to do a couple more case statements, I believe. Let me look at the request. So case when I'm testing out my subquery to make sure it runs, and then I just put in like 2 fields to make sure it's aggregating and calculating it correctly. And then with my case statements, of course. Okay, so I can see that. They want, well, actually, I need to, this is all, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but I need a total count of something and then sub counts of these. Okay, so I need to count these. So let me see, count distinct. So I can do my calculations. I need a count of every customer so I can use it to base it off. Okay, so we have a total count of customers with product B. This percentage of customers contacted us for some kind of technical issue with the product. That's what I'm trying to narrow down. And then also break it further down by what, where they reached out to us at. Okay, so I have 500,000 contacts, and then I have the 2 departments. Those should match up. No. Okay, well, okay, so I have this, I have this. I need to go back. The heck? I need to.
6. This is so sad. Okay. Hold on. I need to reach out to my coworker and share this with her.
I need to see if she has a minute to pull up. I need to see if she's available so we can review this. this has been since January of this year, 6. Y'all, it ain't worth it. I'm gonna tell them halt the project. We're not doing anything for. No, I'm playing. It's not my decision, but are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh, let me save my. Okay. Oh, what did you do? Okay, let me save my query the way it is because I thought my system just shut down. Let me see. I've been trying. Make sure you save your stuff. Save your work. Save it while you're working and editing your code. Just hit the save. So I sent her Blue Jeans invite. She said she needs like 5 minutes. So I just sent the invite. She can join the call when she is done sending out her stuff. But I'm gonna continue to work and look at this. Just so I just need to share with her like the data I've pulled so far to make sure this is what we need, that we're going in the right direction. I'm surprised by these results, but I also, let me go back. I need to still work on my case statements and further break out these different contact categories. So I'm gonna work on that and then we're gonna pull up together. So I don't know if I can share this call with you guys because I'll just have to mute out some of the conversation if I do, but we'll see. I'll check in with you guys in a bit. How's it going? Good, good. All right, so I wanted to pull up to kind of review the results with you that I have so far and make sure this is what you need that we can share back, and if we need to modify and add anything in, we can do that. Okay, so let me share my screen. So I pulled in only customers that we discussed. And I pulled in, I went to which pulls in like that customers made in. So I limited it down to those customers that, so of those and this is from January, I think, through June. Like I pulled through day -1, so yeah, that would be calls through June. And based on the rep that they talked with, these are the departments that it landed in, 289,000. But if you want it separated out, 54,000 were like they landed in another department initially. So does that make sense? Like I haven't broken it down by month, but I can. So we can look at this on like a month-over-month basis to look at the trends. Yes, but I just wanted to make sure that for this initially, like, which we can modify. I can modify. Let me see. Yeah, I did pull the month. Okay, hopefully this works. But a part of, and I don't know if I'm understanding that correctly, but they wanted to know like how many was landing in, how many of them were landing in. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be pretty consistent. June isn't complete, but the month-over-month data seems like 50,000, like 40 to March, was March again being a high month. I'm not sure what happened in March, but yeah, I don't know what happened in March. Did we have that thing going on then? Was that when that, okay, so that what makes sense. So does this look like what you need, like this summary, or do we need more? But I thought that a month only applied if they had, I thought, look, yeah, that is concerning. And it's only, they're only, well, from what you guys looked at so far, it just seems to be, okay. All right, so why don't I do this? I'll copy this and put it in Excel since it's just a summary. Like if he asks, no, he cannot get the raw data. It's like over 500,000 rows of data. So yeah, no, it's not possible. But we can give you the summary. That's all. Like it's just too much. Like it would have to go into like a dashboard or something because the file would be too large. This one from yesterday, yeah, because this is AC activity act, or I'm sorry, the activity code is AC, so that means it was activated. So this is new. Internally, right? Internally, sales, you know, they care, but as far as the customer, they don't. Like there are other departments. That's not the majority, so that's why they don't add up. Like if he asks, I'm gonna drop this to you in Slack. So I sent the Excel file to you. I'm gonna save this code just in case they didn't, yes, for anything, any changes or modifications, and we have the data if we need it. And then for this,